Hello, this is Chandra. I am coming to you from sunny, beautiful, mid-May, Vermont, and I want to show you my garden. Right now we still just have our cold weather things in, so I seeded stuff that is okay in a potential frost. And here's the garden right behind us. And of course we have things that, like the chives, that come up. Anything that is a little bit more tender are still in pots. I have some up here on my deck. I have some more in a wagon somewhere behind me. And those things won't get planted for another couple weeks, really. A really good typical planting weekend is Memorial Day weekend around here. It is, I think, frost safe about a week before that. But right now we just have our cold hardy crops in. I'm not harvesting anything yet. I can harvest chives, and I can harvest green garlic, which I have not. I haven't needed any. I guess I still have some garlic. But if I do need more garlic coming up pretty soon here, I will need to pull one of these up. And this, you can kind of use it like a scallion. You just pull the whole plant up. It has a nice mild garlic flavor, and that's a nice way to get garlic early when it's not ready for harvesting and using with the bulb. So we have our garlic here in this bed. Let me give you a little overview of the garden. You can see I have landscape fabric over everything this year to keep the cats out, but I'm really liking it. It's cutting down my weeding time considerably to nothing really. And so it's starting to make up for the pain it was to put on. Now I'm thinking maybe I really like it. So we have trellises. Nothing is planted on any trellises yet because these are all gonna be warmer weather things. Tomatoes will go over here. Another tomato will go on this trellis. Actually, I do have peas on this trellis. Let's go look at those. I have one tall one that Leo started. And then here's all the ones that we put in from seed. A lot of them didn't come up, so I don't think I had very good peas. I'll have to buy new seed next year. I just reseeded in any empty spots yesterday, so hopefully we'll get some more. I even put like a couple in each spot, I hope. If I didn't do that, I should go back. I don't really remember. This is all potatoes next to my garlic, and I've never done potatoes before. I am just doing them the way that works for me this year, so maybe you won't get as big of a crop as if I was going to hill them. These are a russet potato variety. I just dug them in as deep as I could, probably 6 to 10 inches, and we'll get what we get. I'll probably take the landscape fabric off when it's time to really fully harvest these, but I expect to eat some new potatoes, and that will be fun because we've never done that before. Here, I do not know what I have planned for this trellis. I have a map that I make at the end of every season when I freshly can remember what worked and what didn't work and where I had things the year before. So I have a map. But I am not looking at it right now, so I don't know what will go on this trellis ultimately, but I do know what's in this garden. So we seeded carrots in these first 3 rows, and turnips, salad turnips. So they're like, they eat them nice and fresh, raw or cooked, and the greens are delicious as well. In among my carrots, I was gifted some red onion sets, so I stuck those in kind of just wherever there was space. There's another one all in this row. I have like 6 or 8 of those. That'll be fun because I had not done any onions and I was just kind of going to skip it this year, but now we have some, so that's great. These carrots in some spots will need to be thinned, and there might be enough empty spots that I can go ahead and sow some more in there. We will see. And then the last thing in this garden is a little thyme plant right there. Those are also cold hardy. None of my thyme made it from last year, so I'm starting fresh. Here in this bed, and then there's a bed right next to it, and in the front corner of these I have kale. I seeded quite a bit. We have plenty of seeds. I just save seed from that. It's very easy to save seed from kale plants, and I think it'll be nice to have a kale plant on each corner here. They get really big, so in the end there'll just be one plant left. I'll harvest these, eat them as microgreens or even as baby kale if I let them get a little bigger, and just leave one in the middle of each of those spots. Here behind that kale is my chard. Same thing kind of here. I'll let just a few plants get maybe 4 or 5 get big. The rest of them I'll harvest for baby greens. And at the end of this, I stuck a little parsley plant. These are also cold hardy. These I started from seed inside. And then I just planted these this past weekend. So I've got 3, my shadow is really in the way, 3 little parsley plants here, and I have 3 elsewhere in the garden. So here's another trellis. I like to do sunflowers along the back of the garden here. This is the north end, so they won't shade anything. So those will go in eventually. And then let's turn around and go back down this way. This garden bed is pretty empty so far. I've got my chives here, and this spot usually has tarragon. And I gotta dig down in there and see if that tarragon is coming. I'm thinking maybe it's a later sprouting perennial, but I can't remember, and I might need to just replace it, which I can do if that is gone. But that is a great plant to have. I love tarragon. Did I show you this bed? I guess I showed you, but I didn't really show you. So this is where the kale was. And then next to it and behind it, I have radishes. I believe there's 2 different varieties. And here is cilantro. I have a few different spots that I plan to successively sow cilantro. So here's my first one in the end of my potato bed. I had a few extra spots and I put cilantro there as well. So that'll come a little bit later, so I can hopefully just keep having cilantro. This bed off on the end with this little one, I have dill on the end here in these 3 little areas. Down this row and the middle one are all beets, and this is lettuce, which is doing beautifully. That comes up so quick and nice, and we'll be eating that soon. This trellis I know will get tomatoes, so that lettuce is perfect there. By the time these tomatoes get big, they'll either shade it, which will help the lettuce, or it'll be done and it won't be bothered at all by the tomatoes. Over here, I have the rest of my parsley starts, 1, 2, 3 of those, another thyme plant. And this trellis will actually get a cherry tomato that will go, they just get so big. So that's gonna take up a lot of space. Out here I have some little catnip plants perched. These are being safe from the cats because they just really, really wanna devour it. And I'm trying to save it for them to get bigger. When I do plant that, and I'm not sure where, I think I will put a cage around it so that they can't get all the way to the roots. They can just eat what comes through the cage, and that way they won't destroy the plant, which is what's happened in years past. So I did start those from seed, and they've done really well, and they're safe right there. So that is it for our raised bed garden. Now over here, if you've seen my previous garden videos, this often has trellises, this little side garden with green beans. We decided to stop planting vegetables over here because the cats, for one, and then also it's so hard to keep up with weeds because this bank doesn't get mowed regularly, and they just creep right up. So we decided to clear that out and plant some berries and such over here, and then there's all grass in between, so it can just be mowed. So you can see where we have rocks is where we have plants. We've got 2 Nanking cherries, which I've never had one, but I hear they're really prolific and they're great for cooking with. So jam or maybe pie. So that's exciting. And that's not a tree, it's a shrub. So similar to these shrubs, so these are hazelnut shrubs, and then behind you can see the lilac. Nothing is gonna get bigger than that. These will get a little bigger, I think, but not a whole lot. There's 2 hazelnuts. And then these Nanking cherries should be similar in size. So we'll kind of have a row of shrubs like that. And then here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 blueberries, all different varieties. And at the end, it's shaded now, but it does get sun most of the day. This is our new raspberry patch. So we used to have raspberries in a different spot and they never did anything. They just never got sun. So they were actually becoming less and less raspberries instead of being the weeds that they are. So we moved this here, and hopefully now we got lots and lots of raspberries, and that can fill in all the way up to this first blueberry. So that's a lot of nice space, and even it could go down to the driveway there. So we'll have lots of raspberries in the future. So there we have our early spring garden. Looking so exciting. We also redid our paths last year. We had mulched them in the beginning 10 years ago when we bought this house, and they had just become weeds because mulch becomes dirt and the weeds were growing in it. So we pulled all that out, and now we have this rock, which I love. It looks so good, and I'm gonna really try to keep weeds out of the paths so they don't compost into dirt and turn into weeds again. And let me show you what we have for starts while we're out here. There's kitties enjoying the weather. So these are staying outside almost all of the time now. I bring them in if there's a threatening frost, but they're good most of the time. They stayed out overnight for the past couple nights just fine, so that's great. So I have celery that will go in eventually, tomatoes, peppers, more tomatoes. I didn't do as many tomatoes as usual because we just don't need it. Lots of zinnias, marigolds, lots of flowers because I really like them. And I'll just stick them everywhere, and whatever is extra I'll put in pots. Basil, I did lots of basil this year, more peppers and tomatoes, and more parsley. I did more parsley this year too because last year the plants did not survive. So I'm gonna try and start with more. I think they got eaten by slugs pretty early. And then over here we have a wagon that if it's going, I had too much stuff to be bringing inside, so this goes into the garage if it's going to maybe frost. And over here we have some nasturtiums, more zinnias, snapdragons, which I love. And these could maybe be planted. This is a cold, a little bit more cold tolerant plant. And then lots of basil. So I hope that you enjoyed my little garden tour. I hope that you're able to get a little gardening in yourself if it's something you enjoy. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and there'll be several more garden tours to come. We'll do another one after the full garden is planted in the early summer, another one around midsummer when things are looking lush and beautiful, and then another one in late summer, early fall to see what's still going on out there. So thank you so much for watching. I would love for you to subscribe, like this video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.